I just can't give it up. Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy D Nolly, aka Don Squally, and today we are back with another Nissan Altima video. So if you guys can tell from the title of this video, we are going to try to get the Altima SER gauge pod to work in a 3.5 SE. Now this will also work for a 2.5 SE. So my idea here is just to plug power directly to the 3 gauge pods. Now I know for my oil pressure as well as my fuel economy gauge, I'm probably not going to be able to get those to work without some extra sensors and some extra harnesses. But for today's video, what I'm going to try to do is at least get the voltmeter to work and just to have the 3 gauge pods actually light up. If I can get those to work, then I will be happy. So I already have the gauge pods out of the car. What I'm going to do is just strip the wires, mess around with the wiring harness, and once I figure out what wire does what, I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm going to use to wire them into the car, and hopefully we can get a working setup on this thing, man. So with that being said, I'm going to move to the workbench and show you guys what we got going on. So basically what I did is I took the gauges out of the actual bezel here. Then what I went ahead and did is just stripped off the ends of each wire, connected a ground for our testing purposes. Now I already went ahead and tested every single wire on here, and what I've found is if you connect a ground to either one of these black wires, I know one's probably for the dimmer and one is probably just for constant power. I'm not exactly sure which one, but if you connect a ground to either one of these black wires and then connect this gray wire to the battery here, as you can see, our voltmeter is showing just over 12 volts there. We do have the lights in the gauges lit up, and unfortunately our oil pressure and our fuel economy is not going to be working. But overall, I'm pretty happy as long as the gauges at least light up. But if you guys just connect one ground to the black wire here and then one to the gray wire, you'll get power to the lights as well as your voltmeter. Now I went through here and tested everything, and from what I gathered, I don't think there's a separate power wire that connects the lights. I think that the connection that goes to the voltmeter is also the same power that powers up the 3 lights. I was just hoping to maybe be able to connect just the lights to the dimmer so I can dim them with the tachometer, and then have a separate 12 volt going here to the voltmeter. But since I can't do that, what I'm going to do is just wire straight power to probably a lighter fuse, and then that way when it gets power to the car, this will power up our gauge pods, and hopefully it's not too bright at nighttime because it will be constant power. As soon as you put 12 volts to this, it's going to be on all the time, whether it's day or night. But nonetheless, I'm going to go ahead, pull in the car, and show you guys exactly how I'm going to wire this up. Okay, so I've got all the wires snipped and taped off that I'm not going to be using. Here are the 2 wires that I'm going to be using in order to connect this. And then I'm just going to go ahead and use one of these add a fuse things that I grabbed off of Amazon. I got like a 5-pack for I think 12 bucks. These are the easiest and safest way to install electronics like this. So what I'm going to be doing is pulling the front power socket here. As you can see, it's 15 amp. The only thing I have connected here is my dash cam, so I'm hoping that there's enough power going to this fuse right here in order to power this as well as the dash cam. So I've got everything out of the car. I'm going to go ahead, run my power line in underneath this panel right here, this kick panel, and into the fuse panel. And then I'm going to go ahead, pull the lighter fuse, connect that add a fuse there, and then wire everything up and make sure that it works. Alrighty, so I've got my power wire connected to my additive fuse circuit here. I've just got the gauges here temporarily, so I've got my ground wire here being wired to this bolt, which is connected to the frame of the dashboard. And then my power wire is connected to the gray wire here on our gauges. So when we turn the key, we should get power here if everything was done right. And as you can see, let me just turn that down. We're getting power to our 12 volts here. Actually, the battery is a little bit low. And as you can see, it's all lit up, but unfortunately, these two gauges are not working. Let me just go ahead and start the car and see if that goes around where it's supposed to be, around 15. So the one thing about the battery gauge is that's actually getting power from your lighter socket and not directly from the battery. So that's not going to be exactly where it's supposed to be, but it looks pretty close. I don't know, maybe you SER owners can tell me if that is where it's supposed to be when it's running. But as you can see, the gauges are pretty well functional. I think 1 out of 2 here, and then being able to get those lights on in the background, I'm gonna call that one a success. So I'm gonna go ahead, throw the gauges back into the bezel, fully install everything, hide all my wires, and then show you guys the finished product. And there you have it. We have the full bezel back together. Climate controls are back in. Now, I was debating on doing this quite a while ago, just doing the trial and error and trying to figure out what wires did what, but I was very nervous about taking this off. As you guys know, these do crack relatively easy, but luckily we got ours on and off without no visible damage. I got everything wired up and tucked away, so when we turn on the power, as you can see, we have our gauges working, not quite as bright as they are right here, but nonetheless they are working. We are showing volts. Unfortunately, as you guys know, we could only get the 1 out of the 3, but nonetheless making them light up and at least show the voltage is pretty much what I was trying to accomplish for today. I think they look really good. Now the dimmer, let's see here. If we turn on our headlights here, as you can see, the dimmer doesn't do anything for, like, let's say we have these down here, that pretty much matches. But if you try to go to like the full setting, as you can see, the lights don't actually dim, but that's okay, man. I think those look pretty good. I should be able to read them during the day as well as at night. And when we start the car up, as you can see, we have a accurate reading of our voltage. I'm probably going to keep, like, this is the full setting. I'll probably keep my tack right there, which is the next level down. I think that's looking pretty accurate with the headlights off. You can see it's much brighter just for the daytime, but even still, I think once we get out in the day, I think that right there is going to be better than nothing. Let me just shut off this car before I get, you know, asphyxiation out here. So that's pretty much it for today's video. So what you guys are going to need for this, obviously, is your gauges, and you are going to need that harness off of a genuine SER. Even though we weren't able to get all of the gauges working, this for like just about an hour's worth of work to be able to have the gauges light up and at least display one of the things that they are supposed to display, that's definitely a win in my book. We are that much closer to having a full-out SER clone on this car. So if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to smash that like button. If you guys want to see more and you are not subscribed yet, I'd say go ahead and do that, because we do have a lot more content coming on the channel. Lots of Altima content, lots of G35 content. The track by my house should be opening up soon, and yeah, man, I'm pretty excited to get the G35 out there. But that's pretty much it for this one. So as always, I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and we're gonna catch y'all mofos at the next one, man. Peace.